One.
Hello, my name is Odonga Otto. I am a political philosopher. I am a political scientist. I am a lawyer. I want to analyze protecting the gains. Protecting the gains. Which gains are there to protect? And can it only be a few people to protect the gains? Please pay a little bit attention. There are 7 aspects which I would call the NRM achievements that I need as a political scientist to bring it into proportion. 1, roads. In 1986, there was 1,000 kilometers of tarmac roads. According to the government statistics, in 2025, there are 6,800 kilometers of tarmac roads. 6,800 is just 1,200 kilometers less to London. That means the roads tarmacked now in Uganda is almost from here to London. Actually, from here to Frankfurt. Is that a gain? The second thing, FM stations. In 1986, there was Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, and Radio Uganda. There was one radio station, middle wave, short wave, blue wave. I've checked from the Uganda communication statistics. As of today, there are 309 licensed FM stations in Uganda. You can tune at leisure. 3, by the time Obote 1 was in power, they constructed hospitals. 17 hospitals across Uganda. Kigomba, Itojo, Iganga, Anaka, 17 hospitals. Mulago National Referral Hospital, of course, which began at the post-colonial era. But currently, there are 6,937 health centers. 6,937 health centers across the country. Health Center 3, Health Center 4. So is this a gain to protect? Can this gain be protected only by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni? 4 schools. In Obote 1 and Obote 2 and post-independence time, there were the traditional schools. In Tare, Komboni College, Kabalega College, Umbachi College, Imwiri. These were the traditional schools. And most of the educational sector was run by the missionaries in the country. St. Mary's, Itobero, Sacred Heart School, Mill Hill Fathers. But currently, there are 30,000 primary schools. And there are 6,000 secondary schools, both private and government. Is this a gain worth protecting? And petrol stations. When we were growing up, there was only Shell petrol station. Today, even if you are stopping at Total and you are in a public taxi, they will still say, Kushele or no. But now today, Shell petrol station has 170 pump stations. Total has 200 petrol stations across the country. I'm not even counting the other small companies, Energy, Africa, there are thousands. Is this a gain? Is it worth protecting? Liberalization of the economy. When we were going to primary 1 in 1984, we would buy a Colgate toothpaste. The tube was metallic. You have to squeeze gently from down to up. And when the Colgate is getting over, you would even open and put a toothbrush inside to get the toothpaste out of that metal. There was only Colgate. The economy has been liberalized. Now you have close-up, close-in, Delident, what? Accessibility to services. Those days, the fashion industry, there were trousers of Carrera, Stayaway, Martellos. But today, because the economy is liberalized, you walk in any shop and say, I need this evening in Paris. The economy has been liberalized and goods and services are close to people. FDI, foreign direct investment. Uganda as a country has attracted the biggest number of foreign direct investment in East and Central Africa. I'm not saying East Africa. I am saying in East and Central Africa. Uganda as a country, as of 2025, we have attracted 3.3 billion US dollars of foreign direct investment. Some of you may be saying, what animal is this? These are foreigners bringing their capital into Uganda, 3.3 billion US dollars. You can check this from the World Bank website. And yet our budget as a country is 45 trillion US dollars. 45 trillion shillings, I mean. So the foreign direct investment is 75 times more than the budget of the government of Uganda, more than the money collected from your taxes. These are things that have to be on record. So the $1 million question is, if Bobby Wine becomes the president, is he going to come to destroy these health centers? Is he going to come and start excavating and removing the tarmac roads? The philosophical question is, can these gains only be protected if President Museveni is the president? The question still in political science is it a gain? Yes, it is a gain. Actually, you must be a mad person if you say all these things which I have adumbrated emphatically is not a gain. It is a gain. Of course, the philosophical question would be, probably the gain would be more if we had different presidents. Yes, it's true. So the question is, what are the things which are absolutely wrong under President Museveni's regime? Of course, there are things, and I need to be fair and speak of them. One is corruption. Corruption is institutionalized in Uganda. Nothing can happen in government offices without money. To arrest a person, you pay police. To release a person, you pay police. Traffic police, they are collecting bribes with a clean conscience. People even speak vernacular in government offices. The level of corruption is incredible. Man eateth where he worketh, and worketh most where he eateth. Actually, as a philosopher, I predict in the next 20 years, we are even going to produce children with genes of corruption inborn, given the nature of corruption under the NRM government. Still, we have to ask this question. These FM stations, these petrol stations, are they the achievements of President Museveni alone? Is it not happening in Kenya? Is it happening in Tanzania? Are they not products of globalization and liberalization of the world? Can it be tied to a particular regime? The second flaw of this government is nepotism, cronyism. Actually, the level of ethnic consciousness in Uganda has increased. People prefer to identify themselves more as an Acholi. Another one prefers to identify themselves as a Muganda. Another one prefers to identify themselves as a Munyankole. So the level of ethnic consciousness and tribalism has reached unprecedented levels. This can even be seen in weddings every weekend. People are marrying their fellow tribesmen. The bondage, the fusion, the ethnic fusion, and the cross-pollination, which was programmed by the Obote One government, is not working. My father studied in Fort Portal, St. Leo's. There are people from Barra who were taken to Sir Samuel Becker. There are people from Iganga who were taken to Ombachi. So cross-pollination and ethnic fusion is not there. We are now having more tribal and ethnic social distance under the current regime. And the thing which you can cut my hand on a market day without anesthesia, which I have engaged President Museveni on a one-to-one discussion, philosophical and political science, is foreigners milking the country. Well, it's good foreign direct investment. It's $3.3 billion. But how much money is being siphoned out of Uganda? President Museveni believes that when we bring foreigners, they employ Ugandans. So the unemployed youth would get what to do. Well, that's a good argument. But on my side, I am still raising the argument. Why is it that in countries like Egypt, you cannot take money out of Egypt? Make it and let the money stay here. The level of capital flight under this NRM regime is unprecedented. The money being taken out by Stanbic Bank, a South African company, by MTN, a South African company, by sports betting. The government is doing nothing. Ugandans are poor, and the foreigners are milking the country. There are no controls. This one, I totally disagree with the NRM government. But be it as may, are there gains to protect? Yes. Actually, I still insist, you must be mad to say there is no gain. But the question is, who should protect the gain? Now the answer comes back to political science. There is a constituency called the military, which in Ugandan history has been totally destroyed 3 times. In 1979, the military was totally destroyed when Tanzania was invading Uganda. The people ran out of the barracks, abandoned the uniform, and went back home. We received them. The same happened in 1985 partially, and the same happened in 1986. Total destruction of the military. Now, the military in every country has to be preserved to protect those gains. It is if you go to burn the petrol station, you're going to get shot. If you're going to burn a health center, someone must put you to order. So the institutions that protect the gain, like the military and the police, are they ready for change? This debate has to be answered. In my opinion, I don't think the UPDF is subject to the civilian authority the way it is predicted in the Constitution. The UPDF now has become the authority, and yet the law, I think under Article 215, says they should be subject to the Constitution. So, what is my take on the 2026 elections? Of course, there are gains to protect. There are things as Ugandans we should not accept to be destroyed. No one should ban health centers. No one should ban the petrol station. No one should ban the banks. No one should mobilize the public. That is not patriotic. That is subversive. That is treasonable. But the question is, what do we do in 2026? In my honest opinion, what is happening in 2026 is not an election. It is a selection. It's going to be a selection. It's not an election. 2, Ugandans, the elite Ugandans are not ready for change. They are not ready for change. Some of them are watching with disdain that the next president of Uganda, for crying out loud, cannot be Bobi Wine. So, many people have resorted to support what is convenient and not what is right. And my honest and final take is that the gains have to be protected. But the question that we have to come to is by who, when, and using what means, and for how long. Thank you.